guys, welcome back to Happily Homeschool Mom. So it is just about the beginning of the school year for 2019-2020. I have one child that's going to be a senior in high school, and I have one child that's going to be a freshman in high school. So our first day is September 3rd. And I am just beginning my lesson planning. I have been using the same method pretty much for the past 5 or 6 years or so, and I like it. I use the same planner every year. It is the undated Create 365 large planner, and it's undated. So what I do with the monthly spread is I will put washi tape across the top. I use a Sharpie marker and I just put their subjects down. So reading and lit. Hunter is always first, and so the oldest first. So Hunter, Ethan, then algebra for Hunter, math for Ethan, history, science, and health they do together. Then they have spelling here, spelling and vocab, their reading list. And then these are from a notepad that is Carpe Diem. It's not a, doesn't come from this company, but all I did was I punched it with the Create 365 punch and fit it over so it lays nicely in this planner. And you can really use any type of notepad and just use the punch to add things to us. So this is just going to include unit studies that we're working on, smaller assignment books that I want them to get done. So these are just all little add-ins that I can stick in here and then cross them off. I'm very much a sequence-oriented person, so making lists and plans are just something that I do naturally, and it helps me organize homeschooling so much easier if I have a master list. The kids pretty much work on their own and finish their work. They've always been homeschooled from the very beginning, so this is just something that we do, and it's old hat and routine to them. So no surprises. They're very diligent with their work. I never have a problem with them not wanting to do school because this is all they know. And I'm just very conscientious and intentional about their schooling, always have been. So it's just something that I make a priority in our lives. And if you're going to homeschool your kids, that's what you need to do. It has to be a priority, or you shouldn't be doing it. I don't believe that homeschooling is better than public schooling. I just believe that it's different, and I think both are good in their own way. And as a matter of fact, when my youngest graduates high school in 4 years, I am going back into the workforce and going to go back to teaching. So I'll probably go back to teaching. I'm not sure. I'm kind of weighing my options. I either want to become a liaison or for special education, or go back to teaching. So that is my goal. And previously I worked for the public school system, so I've just kind of continued on the way that I did it. Just with each passing grade, they go up a grade, and and they're both very diligent and hard workers, and they do well in school, so I've never really had an issue. The best advice that I can give someone who is just starting out, especially if your kids are little, is set a schedule and stick to it year to year. Do not make a lot of changes. Do not make a ton of changes in curriculum. No matter what curriculum that we use, I finish the year with it, whether I like it or not. I just decide at the end of the year that I'm not going to repurchase it if I don't like it, but we finish it. We use it completely through. I think that it's a waste of time and money, and it's very confusing to the child if you're constantly changing curriculums throughout the year trying to fit their learning patterns. It does not work. What you have to do is you just persevere, get through it, and believe that they're learning, because they generally are. If you're consistent at it, and it is the parent's job to, in the beginning, to be consistent about it, I think that that's the most important thing, and you just use it all the way through, and you just keep going, and you know, you just make it a routine and a priority in your life if that's what you want to do, and take it seriously. It is a serious business. Your kids are going to school, and they're going to have to go to college after high school if that's their choice, or get a job, and you got to make sure that they know these things. Don't worry so much about, you know, like character studies and all that stuff. I know there's a lot of homeschoolers that believe that oh, you know, building character in my child is so much more important. And you know what? If you have a decent home life and you are teaching your kids right from wrong, they are going to learn character. They're going to learn proper character just by following what you do and following what your family does. And I don't think that it's something that you need to go into an intensive study about. I think that it's just something that if the problem arises, you address it and you move on. And that's just my opinion. You can take it or leave it. I'm not here to judge anyone, and I'm not here to force my opinions on anyone. I'm just saying, you know, as a teacher, that is what you should do. You need to train your children to become independent people, and respectful kids that are going to grow into respectful adults. And that's your job as a parent. But I don't think that, you know, there's a lot of studies out there, you know, where you want your kids to, there's many different reasons why people homeschool. My reasoning is because, well, there are a lot of reasons, honestly, that I probably have gotten into in former videos. But I enjoy being with my kids. I enjoy them. You know, they're the best part of my life. I think that they have done a great job at school. Safety was a concern. I think that they're safe where they are. They have tons of friends, so I don't need to worry about socialization. They have the right kind of friends that are decent friends, and you know, I never have to worry if they're with any of their friends, any group of them. They're decent kids. They don't get in trouble. And you know, I just haven't had to worry too much about that kind of stuff. I keep thorough records, so I don't worry too much about that. I have a benefit from having worked in the public school system, that I kind of know, I'm kind of more on top of it than a lot of people, just because I have that experience that a lot of parents don't have. But that doesn't mean that you can't do a good job, and that doesn't mean that you can't take it seriously and train your kids in the way that you want them to go. My intention was not necessarily a religious reason for homeschooling, although a good portion of their curriculum is Christian-based. It just depends on the curriculum that I have on hand. I don't go out and spend a ton of money on curriculum. I use what I have. If I need another book, I have 2 kids. If it's a group study, they each have their own textbook. I have to buy 2 textbooks. And I have the benefit of also being handed down curriculum for free from friends and former homeschoolers, so that is a benefit. Get in touch with your local homeschool group. You will make friendships. You will build friendships. Your kids will have friendships. You don't have to worry about socialization in that way. You can generally, most homeschool groups have a day where they have kind of a trade off thing, or, you know, like a lot of books on my son's reading list. He's a senior this year. I had a hard time finding, and, you know, I have friends in the homeschool community that have these books because they have older kids or kids that have already graduated. And so all I do is borrow the book when we need it. And same thing, I have loaned out curriculum as well to friends and passed it down when I've been done with it too. It's just kind of a nice community to get into where you can use what you have without spending a great deal of money, because most of the time it's the mother that's doing the homeschooling. She's generally not working outside of the home because this has been a priority that she's made in their family's life, and so her husband is usually the one who works, and money is tight. You know, you just don't have a lot of extra money to spend on curriculum and things like that, and you make do. And it's nice when you can utilize hand-me-downs from other people. That's a great thing. So I'm going to get planning, and I'm going to show you a little bit of what I do. When I plan, I take one book at a time, and I write out as much or a little bit more than I think that we can accomplish in September. So I do this beginning of every month. If you've seen my videos in the past, you can look back at older videos and see kind of what I've done. But like for reading and lit, I have Hunter's literature book for 12th grade. So I will write out each individual assignment that he has in that book. And then he also has another book that he will be reading. It's a novel that he will be reading. Usually on his book list, there's a number of classical novels that are required for the year. And so he will start with one of those, and generally they read one chapter a day out of their novel and until they're done with that book, and then they go into the next book. Same thing with Ethan. Algebra books, I will go down each set of algebra pages that he has to do and write those down. And then the same thing with Ethan in math. History is a group subject, so I'll go down, I'll pull the book and list the activities and things that we need to do for history. Science, the same thing, I'll do that, and in health. And then any additional unit studies I will list here. The reading list of, like, we do listen, well, I'll either do a read aloud or they'll listen to a book on tape. One of the required reading books for Hunter this year on his books list is The Old Man and the Sea. We are going to listen to that on tape because I have that. So that's just something that they're going to listen to while they are doing other work. And I will do that sometimes when I'm reading too. I'll pick a book. Usually it's a more in-depth book of classical literature that sometimes needs a little bit of explaining that we want to discuss as a group, and I'll read while they do their homework and they just listen. So and usually it's a subject like math or something like that, math or algebra, or something where they're just working with problems or something. They can actually kind of listen to the story while they're doing that. So it works pretty well to do that. So but yeah, I'm gonna get started on this. That's the monthly spread, and then I have my weekly spread organized. So this is the first week of school. We're going to start on Wednesday because Ethan has an eye doctor appointment on Tuesday. Monday is Labor Day. So we're actually starting the 4th, September 4th. And then I have the top box is always Hunter, middle box is always Ethan, bottom box is always group. I'll just copy the reading list from the other page. Highlights on like things coming up next week. And that's about it. So this is just kind of an overview, and once I get writing it all down, then I'll come back and I'll just kind of like show you what I have done. And then if you have any questions, post them in the box below, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. So I will see you soon. Bye. Hey guys, so I'm just sitting in the living room, and I finished planning for September, so I thought I'd go over with you very quickly. So we are ready to start on Tuesday. I was going to start on Wednesday because one of my sons, my youngest, had an eye doctor appointment, but we rescheduled it because it just wasn't going to work with the way our schedule was set up for the upcoming week. It's a short week because of Labor Day, and then I have a doctor's appointment on Friday, so I had to rearrange cardiac rehab, so I get what I paid for, because I'm allowed 3 days a week. So we rescheduled Ethan's eye doctor appointment because Scott would not get back from the appointment in time to go to work. It's going to be a long appointment because they're going to patch his eye and all kinds of stuff. So that has been rescheduled, and so that's what we're going to do. So anyways, here is our September schedule. Looks exactly like last year for the most part. We've got spelling for Hunter, spelling for Ethan. Then we have, this is a book that Hunter's reading. It's called Wish by Joseph Moniger. And that's his first novel he's reading. And Ethan is reading a novel too, but I just didn't write it down because it is a chapter book, but it's set up a little bit different. So I'm not even going to write that down. He can just read that on his own, which is what they generally do too. Reading and Lit. This is Hunter's lit book for September. The lesson plans that he needs to accomplish for lit. This is Ethan's, and then Hunter's algebra book. And then on this side, I'll go through these middle sections in a little bit. Then we have Ethan's math. Then we have history here, and science and health. And then we also have these in the middle section. We have geography, and that's our assignments for September. And we have human intimacy, which is basically like marriage and family. And then we have psychology. And that's that. And then we also have art. So we have an art curriculum where it's American art. And I'll have to show you the poster sometime. A friend loaned it to me. She used it for her kids. Well, actually, I think a couple of friends used it for their kids. It's a very expensive set of artwork that the posters are 36 by 24, and they fit in a frame. And you switch it out twice a month, and there is a lesson plan that goes along with each of the paintings. And so that is our art curriculum. So we'll do 2 a month. I wrote more down, but see, this pulls out and I can just move it month to month. These little dividers are actually from the Carpe Diem planner. I do have a Carpe Diem planner, but I don't care for it. So I just use the punch for the Create 365 planner. Punched new holes in for it, and it fits in here just perfectly, and it works perfectly for what I need it for, so I can make it usable. And I'm not making my Carpe Diem planner. I just took the pages out and I'm using it as a traveler's notebook, so it doesn't work. I mean, it's not going to waste. I don't like to waste things, so if I'm not going to use them, I either get rid of them or find a new use for them. So that's basically it for September. And then I have the first week of September. I have not planned yet, but this is what our first week looks like. I actually don't have anything written down because of the eye appointment. We changed our plans. So I think Tuesday we're just going to have an easy day of like looking at the new books that they're getting their school supplies situated. Generally, we use the same school supplies year to year. We just replace as needed, and that's generally what I do. But we can get all that situated and kind of have an overview of their new textbooks and so forth. One of the books that they're reading this month in history is The 100 Days We're Studying Napoleon Bonaparte. So that has got 16 chapters. So I'll just mark those off as we keep going through the week. And then one of the listening things that they're going to listen to, one of the requirements for senior year is The Old Man and the Sea by Hemingway. And Hunter's book list is so extensive this year for senior year that I have this book on tape, and it's actually read by Charleston Heston. So what I'm going to do is, like, periodically when they're working on their individual work, I'm going to play The Old Man and the Sea, and that's how we're going to conquer that book. Sometimes listening to the book is just as good as reading the book, especially if your child has a large amount of books that they need to do in a year. I think it's okay that every once in a while just throw in one that is an audiobook. I know my husband has Audible, and he prefers to listen to books versus read them. He's not a reader. But he likes to listen to stories. And so he subscribed to Audible, and if you subscribe to Audible, I think it's $14.95 a month, and you can get a book for your family to listen to or whatever. We generally don't use Audible, and generally our kids just read their books, but since I already had this one on hand, I decided to use it, and it was on the book list. So, and sometimes I'll do a read aloud as well. If it's like probably Anna Karenina, I think I'll probably read aloud. That's probably one book I'll read aloud. And then another one that I'll probably read aloud is The Color Purple. Just because there are things that need to be discussed during those books, and it's just easier when you're reading aloud, and then you can discuss them as a group versus having the child read it and then writing a report after. Now, there's a good number of books on his reading list that he is going to be doing that too, but I don't think it's necessarily essential that they do that with every single book on the list. So but anyway, this is going to be for their, this is, the top section is always Hunter, middle section is always Ethan, bottom section is group, and then these are for their books, like their chapter books that they're reading for lit. I will write them in those pencils, and these are just stickers from Create 365, and that's basically it. So this is kind of a short video, actually added to the first section of the video. It's probably going to be quite a bit longer, but I'm going to end it here. I have another video that I need to upload along with this one on my other channel, which is Scrapping for MHE, or Thrifty Mama Scraps. But I will kind of connect the two just in case you want to go back and forth. They're both planner videos. The other one is my weekly plans. This is my homeschool planner, and that's why it's on my homeschool channel. So I hope to have more content. I know that I haven't put any content out lately. I've just been really busy going to school and getting my master's degree. And I'm almost done with my first course. So my first course ends on Monday. Well, technically Tuesday. but my second course starts on Tuesday. So I have a huge paper to write this weekend that is a research report, which that is 5 pages long. And so I need to do research on that. And so tomorrow I'm going to write the outline, read the article that I need to read in conjunction with the report. And then Sunday I'll write the paper, and then Monday I will edit and revise it, and then I'll submit it. So I want to have I want this class completely done before Tuesday, so I can start my new class with nothing hanging loose on Tuesday. I also have an exam. I have a student resource exam that I need to take that I'll probably take tomorrow. But that's basically it. I hope you all have a happy Labor Day. I don't know if you celebrate. We generally don't do anything for Labor Day. My family has off because we were going to go to Comic-Con this weekend, and our plans got changed because I was in that car wreck, and insurance didn't give me back as much money as they said they were going to. And so they determined my car was not worth as much as they had originally had said. So we had to use our Comic-Con money for my new car that I got, and that way we don't have any car payments or anything hanging out there. The car is paid for in full. And so it's just something. Our kids were a little bit disappointed, but not too bad. Our kids are pretty good about disappointments. They don't throw a fit or get upset or anything like that. They're pretty understanding, especially, if you talk to your kids as adults and you just kind of explain to them, this is how it is, and, I know it's disappointing, and we're disappointed too, and, and it's life. They need to understand that disappointments are a part of life, and the earlier that you introduce that to your kids, that disappointments are a part of life, then the easier that they take it. And we've just kind of always been that way. You have priorities and responsibilities in life, and you have to meet those responsibilities first before you can have fun. And unfortunately, that's just how life is. And so that's just kind of how we had to do it. We are planning a big trip next year out to visit our oldest son in Arizona, and we're going to go to Disneyland for Hunter's senior trip. And so that will be taking place, and we also have our roof that's going to be worked on pretty soon too. So that's another thing that's a big expense. This year has been the most expensive year, I think, that we've ever had. Wouldn't you agree? It really has been our most expensive year that we've ever had. It's just it sucks big time, but that's just how life is sometimes. I guess you just bite the bullet and live on, and just,
Go with the flow.
Yeah. You don't really have a choice. Yeah. If you see my carpet is stained. It is really bad. We have animals. We have 4 pets. We have 2 dogs and 2 cats. And unfortunately, if you have pets, you understand that pets make stains. And so if you see glimpses of my carpet and it's got stains on it, that's just how it is. We need to replace the carpet in here. It's never been replaced since we bought this house. And we bought our house, 15 years ago. 15 and a half years ago. So it just needs to be replaced. We just haven't done it yet. So, yep, that's just kind of how it is. I mean, we shampoo it and the stains come out, but you can't champagne. I need champagne. No. You can't shampoo your carpet too much. It just, animals have accidents on the floor, or they barf on the... Our dogs don't really have accidents on the floor. They just barf on the floor. Our dogs have very sensitive stomachs. It's not a fun thing. But anyway, so I'll let you go, and I hope you have a good homeschooling month of September. I hope to be back with some activities that we're doing throughout the month. We generally do some of the same ones that we have done year to year that I've had like on my channel previously, like Jeopardy. We play Jeopardy quite often. We play, just various different games to help reinforce facts and so forth. I try to make school fun for them. But yeah, so hopefully I'll be back, and I hope you have a good homeschooling year, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.